All right, 5.2 notes, example 6b. We are still solving by factoring for our polynomial. When we are factoring, the first thing you want to do is your GCF, so your greatest common factor. This one between 54 and 16, the largest number we can divide those both by are 2. And both of these terms have an x with them, so I'm going to also factor out an x. Once you factor out the 2x, you are going to get 17. I believe. No, sorry. 27. My bad. 27x cubed and then plus 8 equals 0. Now, after you factor out the greatest common factor, we only have 2 terms in the parentheses. So that's going to either be our sum of cubes, difference of cubes, or difference of squares. So I need to check, do I have perfect cubes or do I have perfect squares? This one, 27 is not a squared number, but I can check if it's a cube number by taking the cubed root of 27x cubed. And that one is, it would come out to 3x, and then the cubed root of 8 would be 2. So when you are doing a sum of cubes, we are adding, that is going to be factored into a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And that is something you have to have memorized, so make sure you are studying that for a quiz or a test. Then we keep our greatest common factor in the front. My a value is the cubed root of the first part, so when I square this, I have to square the 3 and the x. That would become, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. First, I just write 3x plus 2. Then I square it. So a squared would end up being 9x squared. Then my AB value would be 3x times 2. That just comes out to 6x. This one we are subtracting AB, so minus 6x. Then we'll have our B value squared. So 2 squared equals 4. And I'll just put plus 4 at the end. Now, if you remember from the video of this part, I said that you cannot factor that second parenthesis any further. And also, when we are solving, once we get to the exponent of 2 or lower, we are going to be able to set up our equations and solve. So once we get all of our exponents to 2 or lower, we're going to set everything equal to 0. So each of our factors equal to 0, then we're able to solve. So our first one over here, we'll just divide by 2. That gives us our answer of x equals 0. That's one answer. Then our second one, we have to subtract 2 on both sides. Then we have 3x equals negative 2, and then we divide by 3. Leaving us with x equals negative 2 over thirds. Fractions are numbers, so they can be solutions. That leads us to our last set of parentheses, our 9x squared minus 6x plus 4. Now, that one's not going to be able to be factored any further. Because we can't factor it, we have to find another way to solve it. So we're going to do quadratic formula. So our a value is 9, b is negative 6, and c is 4. Remember your quadratic formula, you have x equals negative b, or the opposite sign, plus or minus b squared minus 4ac, all over 2 times a. This one, when we go ahead and solve that, b was already negative, so it becomes a positive 6 here, plus or minus the square root of negative 6 squared. Remember, the squared is outside, minus 4 times our a times our c, all over 2 times 9. Okay, so when you simplify this, you're going to simplify under the square root first. So you're going to grab your calculator, or you can do it by hand if you want. And in our calculator, we're going to type in that negative 6 squared, then minus 4 times 9 times 4. So it should look like on the right-hand side when you type it in, and it comes out to negative 108. With these, we are giving the exact answers, so that's when you're going to do your factor tree. We know we have a negative and then 108. So when you take the square root of negative 1, that gives you an I. So we know we're going to have an I. Then we need to figure out a few things that 108 are divisible by. So you can try a few different numbers. I know that 108 is divisible by 36, so I'm going to factor it into a 36 and a 3. And I know 36 is a perfect square, so when I take the square root of that, that's going to be 6. And I can't simplify the square root of 3 any further. So I can take out a 6 and an I from my square root. That will give me x equals 6 plus or minus 6i square root of 3 all over 18. Don't forget you should simplify your fractions. So if any of these numbers in the front, your coefficients kind of, can be divided by a greatest common factor, you should be doing that. So 6 divided by 6 would be 1. That would leave us with a 1i, or just I, square root of 3, all over 3. This would be our final answer for that. Now, once you're done solving, you want to check, do you have all the solutions you need? So our highest exponent was 4. So for this problem, we should have 4 solutions. If we look, x equals 0 is 1. X equals negative 2/3 is our second one. And then over here, remember, because there's the plus and the minus, that gives us our third and our fourth solutions. So that means we are done solving because we have all 4 of our answers. Okay, the next video will cover our last example for this section.